smoking. Comment below if you know where that's from. You better. Oh, hopefully you do. We're talking about. Okay, I'm an 80s baby. Some of these guys be making me feel really, really old. What's going on, familia? Andres Fernandez and Señor, el Capitán, Lester Castrillo. Look, all right, so a little backstory. I've been trying to get this man on the podcast for since episode negative. No. And no, it's great. Of course, naturally, we're always trying to offer the absolute best for you guys. And Lester's always been a huge contributor and making awesome contributions to the organization and making sure that our royal image is kept high. And it's great because for those of you that don't know, of course, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm always on the go, and Lester is a wonderful, again, advocate for, hey, let's take it easy, let's, and let's plan things out. So of course, back in the day, I didn't have a team, and he keeps reminding me that we do, and that you're always here to help. So,
and that's what's interesting about that is that you pushed me to do certain things, and then I push you to do certain things, which is why I've been meaning to do the podcast many times, and you keep pushing me, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then when it has to do with stuff with the organization, I'm trying to help you out, and then we definitely are a team. We've grown this so much where we are each other's like I hopefully am your arms, and everyone's the legs, and then you're the head. So we're definitely every piece to the puzzle.
And
so
that's
awesome.
And that's for you guys. So thank you for your continued loyalty. We're here, very happy, very, very proud. And I wouldn't want anyone else to be on recording episode 200 here.
200.
Salsa
let's
Kings
go.
Live. As usual, I don't know what this episode is going to be about, but we have the title, Your Superpower.
Yes.
And it reminds me, I was telling him just a few minutes ago, it reminds me of when we recorded, or when I recorded episode 61, You're a Superhero. So I have a feeling it's going to be very, very different topics, but I'm very, 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 very excited. Lester and I will be on board Miami Salsa Cruise, February 22nd to the 28th, 2026. We're going to be aboard the Carnival Horizon this time. We were previously aboard the Celebration, but the Horizon has like a much bigger Havana bar, so we're excited about that. Live salsa music every single night. We're going to be going to Ocho Rios, Jamaica, Cozumel, and Costa Maya, Mexico. So you already know that we're going to have an absolute blast. But Señor, please share with us, what is this idea that we're going to be sharing with our casineros, salseros, bachateros, tangueros, zuqueros, and all the eras as well, of course.
I feel like whenever we get into dance, the reason why I was thinking of that topic is because whenever I know something that I learned way in the beginning when I was trying to figure this whole thing out, this whole dance, because unlike anyone, I was very determined to learn this thing. But when you're focused on getting good, you forget the whole point of it. You're just trying to get good, and And I had my mentor at the time, Miguel. He's on one of the prior podcasts. He was definitely one of the people that inspired me to basically figure out myself, figure out what I can bring.
Shout out to Miguel.
What I can bring. He was an advocate of because by nature I'm very competitive. We know this very much. Me and you can be super competitive. And coming into the salsa scene, coming into salsa in itself, I came from doing sports, and I was very competitive. I was always wanted to be the best. And when I came to salsa, he was basically my mentor. And he's the one that I looked up to, and that's the person that I wanted to either meet or beat. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get up to that level. And he was already wise. He had already had 10 years in, and he was like, it's not about reaching up to me. It's about finding yourself. Who are you within the dance? So that's basically where this concept came from. What is your superpower? What's what you bring to the dance? What is what you bring to the table? So that's basically where that came from.
That's beautiful. And it's me personally, I'm constantly, as you know, you too, we're really, really focused on our businesses, our self-development, and I'm pretty sure I've made this this analogy in a previous episode, but I'll go ahead and reshare it. I remember a story being told, from a mentor to a mentee. Basically, saying that there's a basketball team, and there's the center, there's the forwards, there's the guards, right? And they're doing really, really well, and they're kind of getting snooty, right? So it's like, okay, teach these guys a little bit of a lesson. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all the stars, and the first the starters, if you would, and we're gonna put the center as the guard. We're gonna put the guard as the forward. We're gonna put the forward. Basically, take everyone outside of their position,
right, to show their weaknesses.
and then from there, they're gonna go up against the second string. Right, the second team, if you would, and they're gonna play, and of course, sure enough, the second squad, who's less talented, destroys the starters.
Wow.
Simply because the starters are not in their right position. They're not owning or executing on their superpower.
Correct.
So I feel that that's totally awesome, and again, why that applies to business is because at the end of the day, like you're saying, if we all have a certain role, if you would,
Correct.
us leaning in towards that role or what we know what we're good at,
Right.
And I think that applies big time. I would imagine, which is why you bring this up, which is awesome in your dance, right? Because essentially the goal is for you not to dance like Miguel, but for you to dance you to dance like Lester.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what we're trying to lean to. Because it was a big how do you say, like an eye opener when I got to a point where I understood what he meant. He was basically saying, find yourself through dance. Find who you are through dance. And it isn't until you start, like, there's an anime. I like to watch anime. There was an anime where there was a character in one of my favorite animes where he was very much like me. He wanted to be the best. But then he got to a point where it no longer mattered to be the best. All he cared about is growth himself. And when he realized that, he catapulted past and he discovered who he was supposed to become. And that's something that I can relate to because it happened to me. I no longer wanted to be as good as Miguel or as good as other people that I saw. I was like trying to see what's the best version of myself. What can I bring to the table? What can I bring to the dance? And the cool thing about all of us is that we all have done that in our own way.
Absolutely.
So when follows or when other students dance with us, they already know Andres dances like Andres. Miguel dances like Miguel. Pablo dances like Miguel. Pablo's dances like Pablo.
Yeah.
Lester dances like Pablo. Adam dances like Adam.
Right.
Like everyone has their distinct flavor, distinct personality, their distinct power, superpower. And that's what basically this whole podcast is about.
And I love that. And it reminds me two things. One is the image that kind of gets to my head is kind of like a tree, right? And there's the roots where, you get inspired and then it goes through the trunk, if you would. And then there becomes kind of like the individuality of the branch and the leaves, right? Like you end up becoming your own version, of course, still connected to the roots, but your own individual piece, if you would, to the overall puzzle, which in our case would be the scene. The second thing is I remember specifically there was a night that, go figure, it was us three. It was you, Miguel, and myself, and we had all gone to Ball and Chain that night.
Okay.
That didn't happen. That doesn't happen too much, of course, because I don't go out too often, and neither does Miguel anymore. But I can imagine it was quite a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that night? I remember you making like a bunch of like really sentimental posts about that night.
Oh,
and
wow.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. And how like it all brought up to this very moment and how we're all enjoying this one piece, one dance as a it didn't really matter. We were just dancing. We were just enjoying the night.
Bingo.
And it was unlike anything I had ever experienced. And I was grateful to both of you guys because you guys basically mentored me to be, because I remember if based on skill levels, you guys had more at the time. And I felt like you guys were both raising me up in that one dance, which I felt like
we did some fire rails.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I felt like at that moment I was being knighted by both of you guys. You're one of us. Kind of like that.
It was so much fun.
Like, I got my superpower.
It's so much fun. So much fun. Okay, so then I'm gonna ask you a question. What would you say? Let's say, okay, two parts. What would you say is your superpower on the dance floor?
Ooh. Okay.
And then what would you say is your superpower off the dance floor? And are those the same things and or related?
Yes. Yes, for the second one, they are related. I didn't realize it until I started like watching myself dance, because in the past I wouldn't watch myself dance as much. But I think as I started getting recorded and watching what I did, I realized two things. One is that I enjoy the music. I very much enjoy the music.
I see that. Definitely see that.
And in by nature, I like to. I'm a protector. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So
yeah, I agree.
When I dance, I like to make sure my follow is having the best experience, being protected and enjoying. Basically, kind of like if you're on a date, you take your girl on a date, you want her to have a great time. You want to make sure that there is nothing going wrong. You just want her to enjoy, and you take care of everything.
So creating a safe space.
It's safe space. Yes.
Gotcha.
That's a good
okay.
one. That's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Creating a safe space for them, and I feel like I bring that in the dance and then create the experience so that they're able to enjoy. It doesn't matter if I'm not having a good time, but I try to make it so that they have a good time, and I try to bring that outside of dance, which I kind of try to do that. I feel like I take up most of the heavy lifting so that no one else has to.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. For me, I would say, which is actually pretty interesting. So for me, I would say my superpower is definitely teaching. My ability to take an idea and put it into 3 or 4 words where it sinks quickly. So the problem with social dance is you can't be teaching on the dance floor. Ask me how I know that.
Yep. Don't teach.
Yeah, don't be teaching on the dance floor. You go to class for that. So go figure what ends up happening. Of course, one thing was the time it took to get the teaching, and then the time it took to no longer teach. So now I guess you could say on the dance floor, I guess you could say they're related in the opposite form. That for me, it's the exact opposite of teaching. It is so deeply rooted in fun, and it doesn't matter, and let's just have a good time. Yeah. And that's where, at least for me, it's almost like letting my partner know that it's okay to play.
Right. So that's where I what I mean by like creating that safe space, creating that place where she can vibe, she can enjoy while I'm there enjoying as well. But I'm creating, because oftentimes happens that follows dance with certain people and they're not having a good time, or they're not enjoying the dance. And when I come into the dance, I want to create that space so they can bring out their superpower as we're dancing, so that we're able to both enjoy the experience.
Absolutely. And I think, and I actually challenge follows. Allow yourself the opportunity to begin that discovery process, or to sharpen it. If he's not creating the safe space for you, do what you can to solidify that and create that on your own, to get confident, to begin discovering that, or like I said, sharpening that superpower, to depend on a social dance partner for that is of course, it can be very, I guess you can say, limiting. It can hold you back. Leads, in this case, do what you can in Lester's example to create that space so that they feel inspired without having to kind of go through hardship. It's already hard to make the decision and to do it, let alone having to jump hurdles to even get to the place where then you can begin. Right. So all of those things, and of course being mindful of all of that, it certainly can be a lot. That's for sure. What would you say is the journey or the steps that kind of clicked, things that kind of clicked in your head on the way there for you in your instance? Was it more, do you feel that you're clicking more, or ideas sitting more now, or did you kind of learn faster before, if that makes sense? Like, were you crossing milestones in that awareness before or now? Like, are things kind of sitting?
Am I able to pick up stuff a lot faster now, you mean?
I guess you could say on the intangible level when it comes to your superpower. Like,
oh my God, yes. I can see things that I normally wouldn't, because I think when I started dancing, I felt like it was more black and white,
That's beautifully said.
you know.
That's beautifully said.
And when I started moving more towards the creative side, the who I am side, bringing myself into the dance, it all started bringing colors into the picture, and I was like,
That's
wow.
beautifully said, bro.
I was like,
That
I
is.
was,
Oof.
I was like, wow, this is more than just moves, basic little turns. Like
Right.
this is, and it's funny that I say that because realistically, we're artists. We're painting.
I was literally just thinking that.
We're artists. We're painting. We're creating that, and that's where we lean more towards the who are you? What are you bringing to the table? And that's when everything started appearing, and I can see things. I tell someone, I would tell some of my students, and I think I was teaching one of my prodigies at the time, because they were like, how do you see all these things? And I'm like, as you get better, you start to develop these salsa glasses
Hey.
where you start to see things that you wouldn't before, and you're looking for things. Before, I would just see people dancing, I'm like, oh, they're having a great time. But then as you start getting more involved, you start to see little things on what are they doing, what are they not doing, who's having a good time, who's not having a good time. You can start to see things that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and I think the way that you said from black and white to colors, beautiful analogy. For me, and I think we kind of use the colors analogy more now.
Yeah, we do.
For me, the way that it clicked for me was it went from math to art, like you're saying.
Okay.
So it was like a right or wrong,
Right.
and then it was okay. No, it's not about after a certain point.
Right.
Of course, you're doing it right. Now it's okay. What life are you providing?
So,
what, you know,
I'm glad you say that, because actually, I think it was a conversation me and you had that actually made things click in a way that it brought me from where I was, and it catapulted me all the way to the top. And it was because when I was a kid, I used to play music. I used to play instruments. And when I used to play music and listen to music,
what did you play? I'm sorry to cut you off.
I played a little bit of trumpet. I did trombone. I did a little bit of a keyboard. And I loved music. I was one of the best in my class, so much that the teacher would take me up to the higher levels, to the other grades, and practice with them, because I was very good. Like, I had good hearing. And I remember that when I would play music, I would disappear. I would have a whole story, a whole movie in my head. And I'm like, man, I wish that I could bring this out somehow. I didn't even know that I knew I had that power, but I didn't know where to put it and whatever. And I remember we had a conversation when I was asking you, I don't know if you remember, I think it was after the cruise or during the cruise, one of the 2019. And I asked you, how do you find the beat? How do you find that? And you were basically teaching me how to connect to the music. It was one of those times that you were teaching
ADC.
ADC, correct. ADC. And you were basically showing me, because you were listening to the drop, you were listening to the connection to the music. And it didn't hit me until I forgot what you said, but you were telling me how there's waves to the music. If you pay attention closely to the music, and then you give me different, like, you got different genres, which I use sometimes to my students, different genres, and how all genres have their own beat, but they all follow the same mathematical rules. And I was like, wait a minute. I used to play music. I would follow the graph. I would follow the notes, and I'm like, wait a minute. The same way I connect to the music, I can do that when I dance. So my hands and my instruments were no longer what brought out the music, but my body as I was dancing. And once I put those together, I'm like,
that's nice.
Once I put that together, I was like, yo, I've been doing
superpower.
this. Superpower.
Look at this guy.
Once I was able to do that, everything just happened. Like, I started connecting to the music. I started to feel. I started to see all the colors that I didn't before. And it just clicked. I had that click, and I was like, that's how I'm supposed to see this.
Click, episode 33. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like, the whole experience of dance, I no longer saw enchufa as an enchufa. I no longer saw an adios as an adios. I saw it, how can I link this into the music so that it makes sense, so that it flows together.
Intentional, right? Absolutely. No, man, that's the idea, and that's what, for those of you that are listening, is exactly what the magic is the word that I like to use, is to experience that magic first, and then second, to contribute to it.
Oh my gosh.
to contribute to it, to magnify it, to be an instrument.
Right. Be the instrument. Be the instrument.
To be the instrument in the band. Your body becomes okay. So there's a trumpet, there's a guitar, there's a piano, and there's a Lester. Right? And the idea is that you add, which, go figure, I'm going to go ahead and totally drop this. Like, I believe that every single live band in the world should have dancers that go along with it.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a visual appeal and there is something additional that can be felt, obviously, in the visual if the dancer is connected to the music and reflects that accordingly. And any classically trained, dancer is going to be able to do that to non-salsa. And of course, salseros can too, to salsa music, at least in a perfect world. But absolutely, man, I think that's totally awesome. I think we are definitely going to need to do a part 2 on this.
Oh, for sure.
But an absolute pleasure, bro, bringing you on.
Thank
Guys,
you,
please come check us out on Miami Salsa Cruise again, February 22nd to 28th, MiamiSalsaCruise.com. If you're not already, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Go ahead and let us know how Lester's barber did, and we can go ahead and we'll go ahead and make sure that we get you a response in there as well. Go ahead and write me, Andres, at salsakings.com. You can reach Lester at his email as well, Lester at salsakings.com. We love getting all the feedback from you guys, so thank you for continuing to do so, as all of our episodes are inspired by you and your ideas. Thank you guys so much. Episode 200.
200.
Thank you again, brother.
Appreciate it.
You are superpower.
Glad to be here.
Andres and Lester Castrillo signing out. Bye-bye.